Paul Mayer's Biotherm is running away with the Ocean Race Europe. Having won the leg from Cartagena to Nice, they hit the jackpot again as they pass through the scoring gate at the start of leg 4 on their way to Genoa. Another 2 points in the bag, another perfect start. By this stage, they'd taken everything that was on offer, stretching their lead each time. And yet, despite what the scoreboard might have suggested, such a dominant performance had been far from easy. On every leg, Biotherm were under pressure, and in 4 out of 5 legs they had to win their lead back at some point. But the tight racing at the front of the fleet had also started to reveal a pattern. When the breeze was up and it was time for a drag race downwind, Paprec Arkea put Biotherm under serious pressure, and on several occasions they lost the lead. In the lighter stuff, it was Holcim PRB that were nipping at their heels before they too took the lead. Occasionally there were others like Alagrande Mapai that had a sniff of the front too. So winning each leg was no walk in the park, but Biotherm were taking the points when it mattered, until Genoa. More on that later. But first, how come this team is so good?
It's like always in yacht racing. It's those that make the least mistakes that do the damage. Clearly, Paul has he's had that boat for 3 years now, and surely when he started the ocean race with it, it was just 3 months old and it wasn't sorted out. They're extremely complicated boats, and so it's taken him really this length of time. Build up to the last Vendée Globe, and all the shenanigans that went with that, changing foils and things, and making the boat reliable to get to a stage where he has 100% confidence in his boat. But I would say most significantly for Paul, this is the only real target event he had for this year. He's done a couple of other things like the Gotland Ruin, but his goal for 2025 was to win this race. And this race is not a Vendée Globe. You're not loading it up with spares and backup systems and this and that and the other. So aiming towards this, he very much geared it up to be available for, I'm not going to say the light air sailing, but the varied sailing that is this event. And so it's probably the lightest boat at the moment. I would also put a lot of emphasis on the profile of the crew, a fantastic group of really, really talented sailors, many of which we know obviously in the English-speaking world. Shout out for Sam Goodchild, who's done all of the legs. Jack Boutel was on the boat as well. I remember Paul telling me wasn't in Nice, it was in Cartagena during the stopover. He looked at me and he said, it's fantastic, those two guys. It's like one person with 8 arms. They don't talk much to each other, but they're just everywhere and everything, and it all just happens automatically, and it's just a joy to sail with them. And then Amaala Grassi, a fantastic young female sailor who did the last ocean race with Paul on board the same boat. So she knows that boat well. She's had a huge amount of varied experience. She sailed the Fastnet race on SVR Les Artigues. So these are the people that know each other well, are at the top of their game. And I would say also, obviously, they sailed the first leg very well and took the points. And that gave them a little boost and confidence that they'd made the right decisions. And they've sailed very, very smartly since. In terms of on the water stuff, that if you watch their tracks, you're able to see that he's always positioned himself on the right side of the group. But every time he's not leading, it's because he's moved to one side where he thinks the next wind is going to come from. And he's been right so far, So I say that team has been right. They've sailed really, really well. And I think everyone is recognizant of that.
But aside from the cut and thrust of the competition, there was another question being asked. Why? Why race around Europe? These boats aren't designed for this, and it's not cheap to take part. For a team that's already up and running and has funding, this race could be costing around 150 to 200,000 euros. But this is for a team that might have an annual campaign budget of around 2.5 million euros. For teams doing just this event, the cost could be far higher. So what's the gain? Most professional sailors can't help themselves. They'll race anything, anywhere. But why would a team do this race? Usually it's part of a longer-term vision, but even then there's a variety of answers, starting with some long-term goals.
The boats that are here are ultimately all putting their eyes on the ocean race around the world 27, so 26, 27 in the winter. That race is equally important in the Vendée Globe twice. It is our big pinnacle, it's our big life dream, it's our, everything. And it's we are even building a new boat particularly for that, with steering wheels and all of that, crew configuration. So we really want to really have our eyes on that. So this is our best chance here to get into that. Ocean Race Europe, then Ocean Race Atlantic next year, and then Ocean Race World. So this is just a consequence to complement the French IMOCA circuit races with the more Anglo-Saxon, the ocean race circuit races, crude races that we try to weave in every year, to have an event every year with the ocean race folks.
Right.
And that makes a really complete program for our sponsors, for ourselves, and for the sport. I think we're all also here because we are genuinely attracted by the race course. Sailing it was for sailors. Even Thomas Rouillon, who was initially a little bit reluctant he did the last Ocean Race Europe, and after that he came back, actually it's fun to sail with a crew, all these French pure solo sailors having done the Mini, the Class 40, Route du Rhum and all that. He won all these races and then he's enjoying now sailing with the crew. That's a great example for hopefully pulling some of the other French teams in as well onto this track. And, I couldn't imagine any more attractive race activities this year. I have done the Vendée Globe, that extreme is done. So just doing another double-handed transat like we have already done 10 times, the Transat Jacques Vabre and all this. I'm actually really happy that we do something very different, challenging, and it is also more playful. It leaves more, you have more options.
Others are looking to learn quickly.
Yeah, we're learning fast. This boat has improved a lot since the Vendée Globe. It's lighter, it's faster. The sails are bigger, they're better in design. And we've got a new boat in design. The hull is going to start building maybe in 2.5 months now. It's going to be launched in March 27. So everything we learned this year in this boat is going to be, great knowledge towards the new one.
For others, it's about learning new tricks.
When you're saying single-handed, it's great, but you end up doing the thing your way, and no one ever really asks you any questions. And coming here, you're like, oh, hang on a minute, I would do it that way, but Paul's going to do it that way, or Jack's going to do it that way. Let's do it a bit differently. And it's all interesting as well, and it's definitely going to make everyone stronger, I think.
Yeah, and some teams are already starting a build or starting the process, getting close towards their builds for the next Vendée Globe. The race seems to be on already. Is that unusual, or is that typical of a Vendée Globe cycle?
It's fairly typical. If you launch a boat build today, you're going to get the boat 18 months for the Vendée Globe, and seeing as you're building prototypes, you don't really want any less than that, to qualify, and two, to just make sure your boat works.
It sounds like, reading between the lines of what you're saying, that the ocean race has actually become a more significant part of some people's campaigns for the Vendée Globe. We thought it might be last time, but it sort of was a bit. But is that now changed? Is it more important now?
It depends on the team. At Malaysia, for example, their priority is the ocean race, I believe, and that's what they're building their new boat for, is to be ready for the ocean race. Thomas Rouillon is aiming for that as well. DMG Mori are aiming for that. There's a few people that their priority has become the ocean race, and that was the intention when the ocean race and the IMOCA came together.
We've seen massive generational change in these boats in the last 8 to 10 years with the addition of foils now. They're getting faster and faster, and it's really impressive to see. But I think what we're really realizing is it's about the sailors on board, it's about the life on board, and how we need to manage the people trying to steer it and trying to control it to be able to keep pushing the whole time at 100%.
Not everyone's a pro sailor though. Scott Shawyer is an amateur, bankrolling the project largely by himself. So why do this?
I started to look into, IMOCA and Vendée Globe history in Canada, and found that we've had 2 Canadians attempt the race and neither finished, unfortunately. No current programs, and just the mountain seems too high to climb. And so I was challenged by that, because it really is such a challenge. It's not just sailing anymore. It's fundraising, it's business, it's marketing, it's the technical aspect of these boats. It's running a team, it's management, it's leadership, and all of that brings together a lot of what I'm passionate about. So that was really what got me going.
Meanwhile, back out on the racecourse, the Mediterranean stages were getting underway. Leaving Cartagena for Nice, it was Biotherm that was first to the scoring gate, with Paprec Arkea in second. And as they headed out into open water, the weather model suggested that they were going to be facing a wide range of conditions. The leg was going to be a complex one too, taking the fleet past Ibiza, Mallorca and then onto a waypoint off the northern tip of Corsica, before heading to the finish in Nice. To start with, it was Biotherm and Holcim that were trading places at the front of the fleet.
Yeah, it was close with Holcim. They were ahead to begin with. Well, we were ahead, then they were ahead, and then we got back ahead and we managed to hold them off. And Paprec weren't far away, and I'm not sure who was second at the gate, one of them. But yeah, no, what's the point is we were first.
From Mallorca, it was a drag race in plenty of breeze to the French Porquerolles, where the breeze dropped and the fleet closed up. Meanwhile, at the back of the fleet, Alan Rora's Amaala was taking a battering in a squall that reached 65 knots.
There is about 50 to 60 knots, so just bear away. No, it's only fine. It's fine. Better stay like this, it's slow. If we bear away, we're just gonna fly 30 knots. Yeah. Get it.
The final stages to Corsica and then to Nice were stressful ones for Biotherm, as they were pushed hard by Holcim.
It's sure that now the finish is in probably around 24 hours, so the models and the forecast is much better and they are much agree, but it's still a really tricky situation.
Oh, so close.
But Mayer's team held their nerve and took another win, with Holcim finishing just 30 minutes behind. Paprec Arkea finished 49 minutes behind the leaders to take third, a result that put them on even points with Holcim in the overall standings.
It was 100% Mediterranean, with the wind really tricky, and it was so hot and warm during the first 38 hours. And after we have this conflict between the cold front, so really warm wind from the east on the side, and really cold wind from the west on the other side. So it was big thunderstorm everywhere, and so the wind was not really predictable. Sometimes we were 2 knots, sometimes we were 30 knots, and it was really hard because we were in front, and to manage that with the fleet coming back every time was really hard.
But leg 4 was to deliver a shake-up. This was the shortest leg of the race from Nice to Genoa, but it was complex. The 550-mile course took the fleet through the notorious Bonifacio Strait between Sardinia and Corsica, before heading north to Genoa, where there was a lap to perform before heading to the finish. The start saw Biotherm take the points at the scoring gate once again, with Holcim in second. But by the time the fleet reached the Bonifacio Strait, it was Holcim that had taken the lead. But they had a problem.
In the tack, the J3 has punched a hole in the mainsail. So there's a bit of damage in the mainsail. So trying to come up with a solution to stop it from damaging the mainsail and then to repair the mainsail. I'm going to try and patch it together with some strips first of all, and then I've got a big piece that's ready, but I don't know the exact size yet. So once we pull the reef out, we can see the exact size and cut it to the right shape. Huh? Well, it's easier to put smaller patches than bigger patches on.
Here, the breeze accelerated through the gap, providing a slingshot for Holcim, PRB, Biotherm and Paprick Archaea. But those behind didn't get the same effect and were forced to watch the front runners pull away. As the leaders passed the island of Elba on Monday night, it was the Italian flag team Allegrande Mappe that took the lead. From there, the loop in the course was a nerve-wracking one in stop-start conditions. And despite having pulled out a decent lead over second-place Paprick Archaea and Biotherm in third, the breeze shut down just miles from the finish, allowing the fleet to compress once again. But once again, the crew of Allegrande Mappe held their nerve to take an impressive home win. And while this result alone doesn't challenge the overall dominance of Biotherm, there was no mistaking how much this meant to the Italian skipper, Ambrogio Beccaria. From disaster on leg one to a victory where it mattered most. For one team at least, this was a dream finish.
In Nice, I said that I would love to win this leg because it's the start of a race, and I always dream to win the next leg. But this one was special because it was in Italy and we were improving so well as a team. Last race we did third. We knew we can have better, so why not to dream big and try to win this leg? But I'm really happy because of all of the people that work on this project. It's wonderful. Everyone thought that we'd be dead, the race, and now we are here. We won even the leg in Genoa. It's huge for us. It's wonderful.
The next leg is the final one, from Genoa to Bocca Bay in Montenegro. It's a long one too, with plenty of tactical obstacles along the way. And then there's a coastal race to finish things off. So in the overall standings there are a total of 16 points available, which means that if Biotherm fails to finish any of the legs from here, they'd still finish third overall. But clearly that's not what they have in mind.